Hello and welcome to another episode of Leadership Live with Anton Gunn. I'm excited about being with you again today to talk about and continue on this same trajectory of talking about the industries who are struggling the most with retaining their top talent, building a culture, and building a kind of environment that allows them to not only be productive, but actually increase the bottom line. So we've talked the last couple of weeks about a couple industries who are struggling with talent. We talked about banking and finance. We talked about the technology sector. And today we are going to talk about one of the biggest sectors in this time of year. Now, when I say this time of year, we're approaching the fall, we're approaching the shopping season, and we all know that retail therapy is something that someone in our family or in our lives, and maybe it's you, spend all of their time doing during the fall, shopping. Now, the reason why I want to have a conversation about this is because I want you to have a good experience when you go shopping this season. And if you work in the retail industry, I want you to make a lot of money this season. I want you to hit your Q4 goals and set yourself up nice for Q5. But in order to do that, you can't just have good prices and good merchandise. You have to have great people that you keep and a great culture that will never go away. But the problem is the retail industry struggles significantly with this. See, I've had the privilege and the opportunity as a keynote speaker to work with all kinds of companies, most of them for-profit, some nonprofit, some in government. But I've also worked with companies that are specifically in the retail sector. During the 2020 pandemic, I had the privilege of working with one of the largest retail shopping chains in America. Now, when I mean largest, I mean literally they have stores and shopping centers all across the country in some of the most desirable areas. They partner with some of the highest luxury brands that exist across America to put stores in these places where consumers like you and I will come and shop, spend lots of time and lots of money. But this particular client of mine was telling me about his struggles with talent. They were telling me about their struggle to retain talent. They even talked about how many of their clients in the retail shopping area were struggling with talent, with keeping people, keeping employees. And we know that retail tends to hire a lot of young people. They have a lot of seasonal work. And it's always a constant uphill battle in that industry to find top talent, to keep top talent, and most importantly, build a culture where everybody feels valued, respected, and included. And the reason why this is a big challenge is because we know our expectations as consumers have changed. Like literally, the speed of response is more important than the quality of response, right? You want people to get back to you. If you look for a shirt in size XX, you want to be able to find it. If you can't find it, you're not going to stand around and wait for them to go look for it. You're going to leave and go somewhere else. So this industry is struggling. And this is why we need to focus on what I call remixing retail therapy. Why they're struggling to retain talent and what you can do about it to solve it. So today's episode is really going to be 6 things. Call it the 3 in 3. You're going to understand the 3 biggest challenges facing the retail sector. And then I'm going to give you 3 solutions to those challenges of things that you could implement right now if you are an HR executive that works for any major retail brand. I'm talking Walmart to Louis Vuitton. It don't matter where you fit in between. I want you to understand that these are the same challenges across the industry and something that you can do about it. So let's jump right in. So challenge number one in the retail sector is the following, and this is an obvious one that we all have seen and known, and that is low pay and limited benefits. See, the retail industry is notorious for bottom basement salaries to go with their bottom basement prices. And even if they don't have bottom basement prices, they will still only pay basic salaries. They won't give people the opportunity to earn a living wage, a wage that allows them to pay a mortgage, a light bill, a phone bill. They just don't allow that. That's why most people who work in retail have two jobs. Like I knew somebody who worked at Belk, which is a large retail department store chain in the South, but they also worked at Dillard's in the same mall, but at a different store on a different schedule. Literally piecing together two retail jobs in the same shopping mall at different stores because the wages at one were so low and the benefits were non-existent. No health insurance, definitely no flexible schedule. Like you had to work when they told you to work when they were going to be the busiest. They didn't do things like pay for childcare or any of that kind of good healthcare benefits. I mean, it was just nothing. No retirement. You work the retail job, you get the cash from the salary, you get longer hours, you get more and more, overtime if you work the longer hours, especially during the holiday season. So this low pay says to employees, you don't care about me. You're just going to pay me enough to help me to meet these needs of these customers. And then, you could care less whether I stay. And guess what? They're not staying. People are literally leaving the retail sector. And that's why there's so much turnover. I mean, just think about the last time you went to a store to shop. So whether it's American Eagle, H&M, Big and Tall, the cowboy boot store, whatever you going to shop at, I bet you the employees at that store today are not the same as the ones the last time you went there, let's say if it was 6 months ago, that they always are turning over employees, that they can't keep the same crew. You're always going to find new people. And I'm not just talking about sales associates. I'm talking about managers too. That the average retail manager has worked in multiple retail stores. That they'll leave H&M and go work for American Eagle. They'll leave American Eagle and they'll go work at Belk's. They'll leave Belk's and go to Neiman Marcus or Saks Fifth Avenue, or God forbid, don't have a Nike store in town. They'll go work there, but they'll leave the Nike store and go work for New Balance. Nobody's sticking around because the pay and the benefits don't give people an opportunity. That's frontline or management. That's the number one challenge. Number one struggle is limited pay, limited benefits, bottom basement salaries to go with the bottom basement prices and bottom basement benefits. Then the second challenge is kind of related to the first one, and that is there is no career growth or progression for people that work in retail. That if you go right now and apply to a retail store, with all degree of certainty that you either going to be a sales associate, assistant manager, or manager of that store. You're not going to be given an opportunity to move to another store, to move to another city, to become a buyer for the store, to work in the marketing department, to work in the sales department, the design department, the operations department. You know that those things are not going to be real to you because most in the retail industry don't provide any pathway of career growth. So when a manager who really wants to be a fashion designer, or they want to be a fashion buyer, or they want to, work the trade shows and do the bigger stuff in the company, they know when they come to the local retail location, they don't have a shot with moving up. So if they don't have a shot in moving up and you're not creating a shot for them to move up, then immediately they're going to check out and say, you know what, this is transactional. You just giving me something to put on my resume, and then I'm going to move on to somewhere else, probably your competitor. So that lack of career growth is a non-starter for a lot of people who are looking for an opportunity to excel. I mean, like, I can't tell you the number of stories that I've heard of people who started their own fashion brands and became household names, who started their career working in a clothing store just so they can get discounts on clothes because they love fashion themselves. But then they saw that they could do a better job of the products and services, but there was no pathway for them to explore that internally or even to share those ideas. So they leave and they start making their own clothes at home. And then they start selling their own clothes. And next thing you know, they're competing with you or creating an opportunity for you to put their clothes in your stores because you didn't create a space where you saw their talent, their value, their worth, what they can contribute, and created a pathway to a leadership role. No career growth, a lack of career growth is detrimental to every retail industry, every retail brand. So you got to figure out how to create those pathways. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm going to talk to you about that in a second. Now, here's the third challenge, the final challenge that all retail organizations are struggling with, and that is the high stress work environment. Now, when I say high stress work environment, I told you we're approaching the holiday season. You're going to have so many people coming to shop. You're going to have not enough workers, and the ones you have there are going to be working long hours, customers yelling at them with unrealistic expectations. Person coming in there asking for an extra small sweater or a size 4 shoe in adults. It's unrealistic. And they're going to catch it every day. And it's going to be stressful. It's going to be exhausting. They're going to burn out. And some of them are going to be like, man, forget this. I'm not staying here. Like, one of my best friends used to work retail every season and would always quit because of how bad the environment was. I had another friend who worked retail only during the holiday season. She had a good corporate, not really corporate, a good government job, but during the holiday season, she would work the retail. But she didn't want to work with all of the customers in clothing area. She only wanted to work in jewelry or perfume because it was a much higher price point on the product, and customers were very thoughtful in that space, not the person who's screaming for a pair of shoes or a sweatshirt. So this kind of environment is already bad enough on your employees that many of them can't take it. They don't want to stay there long term. They would, rather quit and go do something else because they're burning out. They don't feel rewarded. They don't feel recognized. They're not getting all of the things that they need in terms of promotional opportunities or pay. So they're going to quit rather than be stressed out and burn out. So those are the three challenges: low pay, lack of career progression, and high stress work environment. Those are the three biggest challenges in retail. Now, let me give you an idea for how to address each one of these. These ideas might be simple, they might be profound, but I can guarantee you that they work. When I mean guarantee you that they work, if you implement these strategies for the people who you give these opportunities to, they will stay longer. They will work harder. They'll be more productive. They'll be more invested. And you'll have a better experience for your customers because you invested in this way. I'm not joking. Simple, clear, and direct. Three challenges, which is low pay, lack of career progression, and high stress work environment. I'm going to give you a solution for each one of these challenges that if you decide to do it as an HR leader at your company, and this actually could apply outside of this industry, but I'm only talking about this industry. But if you employ these, I am confident that they will help you to retain your talent and build a great culture. Number one, the challenge of low pay and limited benefits. Here's an actionable solution that you should do right now, and that is pay people what they're worth. Stop lowballing people with the minimum wage salaries in retail, especially when the markup on the clothes is so high. It costs $8 to make that shirt, them pants, and the shoes all combined, but you selling the whole outfit for $400. So you need to learn how to pay people what they're worth. Pay them a decent salary. Give them some benefits. And what do I mean benefits? I'm always going to be an advocate for giving people access to health insurance coverage. Shoot, if somebody was given health insurance coverage right now, I might go work part-time at the Gap because healthcare is expensive for all of us. So you really need to think about providing health insurance benefits and paying people a living wage. If you can't pay people a living wage, then maybe pay for tuition. Offer tuition reimbursement to your part-time employees. I'm telling you, if you pay them what they're worth, they will stay longer. If you provide them some benefits, they will stay longer. They will be more committed because they will feel like you care about them and you value them because you're making the financial investment. Now, some people might say, Anton, those numbers don't work. Yes, they do. You just don't want them to work. There's so much markup in the retail industry. I ain't talking about the food industry, food and beverage. There's slim margins in that part, super slim margins. But I'm talking about inside of the retail industry, you can pay people more than what you pay them. Trust me. The data is there. The data supports it. And when you do it, you retain people. And you look at the companies who pay their employees living wages, like Costco, places like that. That's why they keep people. They provide them benefits too. So you got to think about, how do I take care of the people? You take care of them by you paying them what they're worth and maybe providing some level of benefit to them. That's the first one. Okay. Now, this second challenge of a lack of career growth or career progression, I'm going to tell you right now, you got to see people beyond their role. So when I say see people beyond their role, I want you to understand that that means you got to create some kind of pathways internally, provide mentorship, provide training, provide leadership development. Let them see other aspects of the business. Don't just let them fold up the shirts and wait on the customers. Show them how you decide what's going in the store and when. Bring them to a larger retail outlet location. Let them see how that's different than the store that they're in. Maybe have a training program on your distribution center. Let them see, how you get things out. Maybe have a buyer come down and meet with the staff to educate them about how you all make buying decisions for what clothes you put in your store. And this is what I'm telling you to really do, is you need to create an associate to executive pipeline, what I call retail associate to retail executive. Show people how they can get to an executive role inside the company, how they can get to headquarters, how instead of working at an outlet mall in Nacogdoches, Texas, that they can actually move to New York City and be in the headquarters. Think about stuff that they could do outside of just folding clothes and waiting on customers, giving out coupons. You got to think about how you can help people to have a pathway to growth in your firm, in your company. That's going to make a big difference. So develop a program, retail associate to retail executive. Provide mentorship and coaching in that program, education and training. Show them how they can be more than just somebody who works in a store in a mall. That's number two. Then the third thing you can do If you really want to retain your top talent and build a culture, and this is particularly around the high stress nature of the work, particularly during the holiday season. And this might sound a little crazy, but I'm going to tell you, it is well worth it. And that is, I want you to throw a party for your employees. You heard me right. Hire a DJ, cater some food, rent out a venue, and for all of those retail employees who work in double and triple shifts during the holidays, who can be burned out, yelled at, and fussed out by customers because you don't have stuff and they want to walk away, maybe you should think about closing up shop on January 1st. And instead, December 31st, the night before New Year's, throw a party for all your employees. Call it a party with a purpose. Recognize your employees. Reward your employees. Have a good time. Have an awards program in the middle of the party to say, hey, we want to recognize the retail employees who did the most, who provided the best support, the best customer service, took on the longest hours, did all of the stuff that nobody else wanted to do to make sure our customers had a great experience. Yeah, throw a party. I'm telling you right now. Why do you want to do that? Because you want to create a culture of support. You want to show your employees that you really support them, that you really care about them. Simple, not hard at all. Very, very simple. So let me repeat these 3 solutions. Number 1, when it comes to the pay challenge, pay people what they're worth. Do a market analysis to make sure that your salaries are equitable in the market. Number 2, give people a pathway to leadership. Give people a pathway in the retail industry. Retail associate to retail executive. Mentoring, training, education, leadership development, exposure. That's how you're going to retain the people. And then lastly, create a culture of support by first starting to throw a party. Have a good time with your employees. They will stay. They will be committed. They will help you meet your customers' needs, increase your margin. Why? Because you took time to focus on how to retain your top talent and build a culture where they didn't want to quit. That is what Remixing Retail Therapy looks like. So if you want to read more on this, go to antongunn.com and check out my blog. I have a whole blog about this with some of the details that I've just shared here. And if you want more insights, if I can be helpful to you or your company in helping you to deal with similar challenges around pay, career progression, and also creating a culture of support, let me know. I'd be happy to come and speak to your organization, work with your company to help you to build that kind of infrastructure in your people side of the house so that you retain the best people, keep them productive, engaged, and valued and respected and included, and they will not quit. So I want to thank you for watching this episode of Leadership Live with Anton Gunn. I will see you next Wednesday. Everybody have a fantastic day. Take care.